Hey folks, and welcome to Art Notes, the podcast where myself, Jonathan Liddell, will be interviewing and having a chat with other creatives and entrepreneurs. Today I'm joined by full-time photographer, the wonderful Lottie. How are you, lady?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
You are most welcome. Where can people find you, first of all? If there's their Instagram or a website that somebody could be looking at while they listen to you?
Instagram's probably the most popular, I imagine. So that is Lottie_photography. It's a picture of my face as the profile. So
we'll find you.
Facebook, same, just Lottie Photography, and website is lottiephotography.com.
Magic.
So yeah.
Nice
and
one.
if you want to jump on my Etsy store, which I was updating last night, you can have a look at some prints. Just Lottie Photography again. So yeah, there you go.
Magic. I had a wee nosy at your Etsy last night, actually. They're stunning works.
Thank you.
How off to you. Magic. So, who are you, Lottie? What keeps you busy? How are you managing to be a freelance photographer in this crazy time?
Oh, crazy. Like a lot of us and yourself, you'll understand as well, I've had to adapt. So normally I'd just be photographing weddings, families, everything where there's large groups of people and very, not obviously what's happening right now. So I've been enjoying doing more kind of landscapes and kind of a bit of wildlife photography, and that was what I was updating on my Etsy last night. But I've also gone down other avenues, as have some other photographers, where we're doing like socially distanced photo shoots. So Doorstep Portraits, some people might have heard of those. It's been nice because it's like a way of documenting what's obviously been going on during this crazy time. But they've actually proved quite a nice thing to have. I don't think many people have a picture, like a nice family picture outside their house. So yeah, I've actually quite enjoyed them.
They look magic. Yeah. Okay.
Thank
And they're
you.
really popular as well. It sounds like you're managing to really kind of get right. Where are you based again at the minute?
So yes, I'm based in Rayleigh, Essex, and I've been covering like a fairly wide area with the Doorstep Portraits, but they have been very popular, and I think families obviously love to keep capturing those memories and the different stages of their children growing up, or whether it's just you and your partner, just having something nice to look back on. But yeah, they proved really popular, especially the Christmas period. That was super busy. People having all their lovely Christmas jumper family portraits.
How off to you.
It was great fun. I think a few of them were being used as like Christmas cards and stuff. So yeah, it was good fun.
Oh, amazing.
So,
That's class, Lottie. Yeah. Where did all this start? When did you decide, do you know what, I love photography. I want to try and make a career out of this. Take us back to when you really thought I'm gonna put everything else on the side and just go for it.
Okay, so growing up, I was always surrounded by photography. My dad was an avid photographer and also a professional videographer. So growing up, I was very used to the cameras being around. So that's the first kind of little sign of there being an interest there. There's actually a picture somewhere of me. I think I'm about 3 years old and I've got this little plastic camera just doing my thing.
It was ingrained.
Destined, yeah. But interestingly, and probably again, like a lot of us, it wasn't something I thought I'd end up doing. So spent about 8 years in admin jobs. I was doing jobs that were local. I worked in London for a year, and I think I was very much in that trap of feeling like it was the done thing. It's just what you had to do. I felt very distracted, always thinking of photography in the background, but I didn't always listen to it, if you know what I mean. I was like, I kind of do it as and when. I'll go out at the weekend, maybe get like the odd job here and there, but it wasn't serious.
Yeah.
And then, and don't get me wrong, like the jobs I was doing, I really enjoyed. I think it was an important part of my career, and I'm glad I did what I did. But eventually I got to that point where the photography was kind of coming through more and more, and I thought I need to do something about this. And I was gradually accepting that I wasn't really cut out for office jobs.
Sure.
But it took me a long time to realize that. I think I was very much kind of, in some ways, following the crowd, but I didn't want to think I was. Then the big turning point for me was when I decided, right, let's go with this and try and focus on the photography a bit more and see if we can make something of it. So I found myself a part-time job in a local beautiful ballet shop. So another passion of mine is dance. So my mum has the dance school. So I had mum with the dance school, dad with the cameras. So they've kind of like...
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So I started that job with the intention of growing the photography business. And that was about, I think I was doing like 3 or 4 afternoons a week or mornings, the odd Saturday, but it gave me lots of time to focus on the photography and build my network. So definitely saw a difference there. More jobs were coming in, and it was growing. So I was like, okay, yeah, we'll just keep going with this. Obviously there wasn't enough coming in to solely rely on it. So I was keeping the part-time job. I did that for a few years. And I then was working with other photographers in that time as well. So I'd have my part-time job, and then sometimes on weekends I'd work with other photographers and start assisting them on weddings. So
I see. So that was the in.
That was when I started
all about that network.
And
that's mad.
I'd say that was when I really started to learn about wedding photography. So I'd done a few weddings where I had no idea what I was doing. I should say that. It was like,
gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, it was right at the beginning. And I always said to the couples, if it was like one that had just come in and they'd said, look, we're getting married, could you take our pictures? I would always say, look, I've not done many of these yet.
Well, there you go. If you were transparent and they wanted you anyway, then that's key.
Such a huge responsibility.
Exactly.
So so it was great when I started working with other photographers and I realised how much there was to learn. Just the running of the day. It kind of gradually becomes ingrained in your head. So when I first started doing weddings, I'd have like a note of what was coming next.
Oh, right, yeah.
There's always so much going on. Whereas now it's just kind of there and you kind of roughly know what's happening. But I'll probably come back to this later, but working with other photographers, I was obviously following their style of photography at the time. Whereas over the last few years, I found my own style and that obviously comes with different experiences and things. Probably the next big turning point for me, which comes on to how we met, was when I moved to Scotland. And I lived there for about 3 years, and in that time I feel was when I really found my style.
Oh right, so that was it. Coming north. It's amazing what Scotland will do for someone.
Moody earthy tones.
Beautiful.
So yeah, I don't want to go off track. If you've
No, you're grand. You just carry on. No, I was actually just thinking about that, leaning into finding your style. I mean, you've certainly answered that one. Just moved to Scotland and it'll open up doors. I mean, like, genuinely though, that's amazing. Like taking the taking that step to then be like, right, okay, I really want to do this. I'm still keeping a part-time job on the side, but I'm really starting to branch into what I want to be doing. And being open and honest as well, especially with clients, just to say like, look, this is where I'm at, but this is what I can offer. And if they're happy, then just getting that confidence built. And I think it's important to highlight as well that none of this happens overnight. Like
No.
this is a case of I love this, and I'm going to drip feed into it until I'm more confident to really start branching out. So hat off to you. So in terms of like, you know, I'm coming from an artistic um background, like I'm always thinking about image creation and like composition and lighting, and certainly style, like, you know, this
Yeah.
even is very much, I've kind of got known for, you know, the tea stained aesthetic with the kind of dark pencil and highlights on it, a bit of a contrast from my digital work, but certainly that's where, you know, it stems from years of using that. So yeah, coming back to image creation and composition, what is it that for you, like, how do you go about that? What for you makes a compelling image? How do you, the photographer, when you're out and about, what are you looking for?
I think for me, it's just capturing real moments,
Mm,
and just portraying that. There's a lot of photographers that have, I'd say, a lot of inspiration when it comes to composing an image.
mm,
And it
mm-hmm,
really depends where you are as well. Sometimes you'll be somewhere and you just see this beautiful symmetry and you think, oh my
mm-hmm,
goodness, and you have to just frame it right, and
mm-hmm,
you can kind of see it in your head before you take the picture. But a lot of mine is just kind of real, in the moment, candid
mm,
pictures. Um, yeah, I think that's probably the best way to
mm-hmm.
describe it.
No,
But it's hard. It kind of depends on where you are, I guess. So if people were to look at my Etsy account,
mm,
um, with my more landscape and wildlife prints, you can see there's an aspect of framing, and or I've seen
mm,
something in the background that it lines up nicely with, that kind of thing. But when it comes to people, um, obviously with weddings, you've got the kind of general candid moments happening throughout the day, but then you've got that little session where you take the bride and groom away and you can spend a bit more
oh, of
time.
course, be a bit more intimate. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I keep it very natural, but obviously if there's like certain scenes that I've spotted, or again,
Mm,
yeah, something that looks nice and symmetric, then
mm.
yeah. Just
Weddings are a
very,
busy day then. You're
it's a very big day.
constantly, yeah,
You
constantly
think
looking
on
to
your
see what you're
feet,
working with. Mm,
yeah, I think on your feet, there's not much time.
mm-hmm,
And again, that's something that's come with years and years of doing them. I've got quicker
mm.
at adjusting the settings on the camera, or quicker at spotting something that
Oh, of
maybe someone else hasn't, or just,
course. Yep,
yeah.
yep.
But definitely something that's developed, I'd say.
Mm. Must be absolutely knackered after a wedding. Like that's
Oh, I
yeah.
always feel,
And then to be
and
like, I'm gonna go to another one and shoot. Yeah, like that's
I
yeah.
always feel hungover the day after a wedding. Like I've been out.
Fantastic. Yep.
And thankfully, other photographers have said the same, so it's
Mm,
not just me. But with yeah, like image composition and stuff,
mm,
I've always been a very outdoorsy person, and I
mm-hmm,
think with that move to Scotland, I was then spending even more time outdoors
mm.
and just drawn to those earthy tones, being surrounded by greenery, just
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that's
lush.
amazing. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
So when you were in Scotland, were you a full-time photographer
Yeah,
then?
literally,
Wow,
yeah.
flipping heck. So
Um,
not only had you moved country, but you were
mm,
then in a new environment,
yeah.
sustaining
No,
full-time work, no
no
parts.
huge
Wow,
network
that's
as such.
amazing. So
Um,
that was when the wedding photography really kicked off, and you were looking
yeah.
at networking and
So
getting
when I
into
knew,
photography circles.
yeah, so when I knew I would
Mm,
be moving,
mm-hmm.
I started. I'd have like the odd trip up north, and I
Yep.
started like putting feelers out
Oh,
and
of
trying to
course.
make
Yep.
contacts then. So I was trying to
Mm-hmm.
build it ready for when I eventually relocated.
That's a very important point to make. That's a
Yeah,
really important point to make. Yeah, do
otherwise
your
people
homework
are.
ahead of time if you can. Yeah, 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 quite right. Yeah.
I mean, it's quite a. It was very risky, very,
No
very risky.
kidding.
And I
Mm.
was fully prepared that I might just have to get myself a job, whether it was
Yeah.
admin or
Okay. Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Working in a coffee shop, that would have been
Hmm.
nice actually. But yes, this is where I do a little shout out to the network that I'm still very much a part of.
Go for it. Please do.
Photography Farm. wow, that changed my like career. It really did. I discovered them one afternoon. I was scrolling through Facebook and I was trying to just, I don't know, find anything that was going on, expand my network. And this little advert popped up for a photography workshop in Glasgow. And I was like, oh, and I was living like 10 minutes away from there, so it was perfect. But it was also such a big development, not for my career, but for me as a person, because I had to just push myself into these situations where I didn't know anyone. But I knew it had to be done. If I really wanted to do this, I had to just get myself out there and network, speak to new people, and just see what was happening. And I can't tell you how inspired I was when I went to this workshop. As soon as I walked through the door, I was so excited. I was like, this is going to be good. I met incredible people, and it was so nice because there was photographers that had like made it and were even there attending, you know, just you're always learning, aren't you? And
100%.
there were people doing talks and just people of all levels, and we were all made to feel equal and just treated as creatives, and it was just so fun. And I learned so much just from that one afternoon. And yeah, I've been attending their workshops ever since. They've been amazing, and they've done a few online workshops during this time. So when they'd normally be, I should mention they do workshops in Brighton as well. So it covers like a wide area. So wherever anyone is.
So Brighton and Glasgow.
Brighton and Glasgow, that's their main places where they hold workshops. So they'll literally hold the workshop in Glasgow and then repeat it in Brighton. And each time they have such a big turnout. It's brilliant.
We'll get a link in the show notes, because I'm all for sharing resources. Every time I very much promote schoolism. I think they're amazing from an artistic point of view, but it'd be really good to get some photography resources. So it was, reminding me again.
Photography Farm.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're based. The lady that runs it, Lisa Devlin, absolutely amazing. She's based in Brighton, I believe, and then she started holding them in Brighton and then reached to Glasgow as well. So covering such a wide area, and that was where I started to pick up that really lovely, like natural, earthy style.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Yep.
You can kind of see like a similarity that runs through people's work that attend this workshop in some ways, but we all still have our own style.
Sure.
But it's so nice to find a community that don't mind sharing how they've achieved.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, definitely.
Because that was so tough in the beginning. It was very competitive. No one wanted to tell you anything. I reached out to photographers before and was like, how did you do that? And then I wouldn't get a response, and I thought, well, that helped.
Yep, the art world is very much the same. It was for the longest time, nobody was talking about how they achieved their work, how they found clients, what they were getting paid. There was a whole culture of hush hush and keep it close to the chest. Whereas now, especially with things like YouTube and numerous like online podcasts and stuff, like the information is out there. People are much happier to be like, this is how we're succeeding, and you really, that's how networks and communities are built. It's through open, honest sharing of information. That's very much what I want this to be about as well. So get the honest experiences out there, get the resources out there.
Definitely. And it's through that as well that if anyone's ever in trouble or you've got a situation, it could literally be a situation with a client, maybe something, I don't know, something's gone wrong, or there's something I'm not sure about. We've got a group that we can talk about these things very, like, there's a real trust in the group.
Oh, amazing.
It's so lovely. Or even if I don't know, something's gone wrong on your software, and there's been times where I thought, oh gosh, I'm embarrassed to
Yep.
like ask someone because they're going to think, oh, why don't you know this? But then
Yep.
it's such an open group that anyone can literally be like, oh, I've just messed up.
Yep.
How do you do this? Or someone help.
Yeah, there you go.
It's just such a nice supportive group.
Mm,
So big shout out to them.
that's amazing. Yeah.
So yeah, they've been a great support. But and it's through them that obviously I managed to network with other photographers and also get work with other photographers. So that
Mm,
was a big help with developing my network and work as well. So
mm.
yeah, it
There
was
you
really
go.
interesting. Yeah.
So speaking of clients, uh,
Mm.
again, so you're back down in Essex now, and
Another
we
change.
yeah, we there you go, another change, having to, not quite reinvent yourself, but certainly go looking for work. How how do you go about, um, not just finding clients, but finding work that you actually want to do? Where's your starting point?
This is a good question because when I think of um, young me, when I first started
Mm,
out with the camera, you literally
mhm,
pick up any work you can get. And
mm,
sometimes you'll do a job and think, is this for me? Is this what it's going to be like all the time? But then you
yep.
gradually start to um, find clients that you think, oh, if only I could get more of these kind of people.
Mm,
And there's such a big um, there's so many different areas you can look at. So a lot of it comes with developing your style
mm,
and finding what area you enjoy most, but then um, learning how to price.
mhm,
That's always quite a nerve-wracking one.
mhm,
Kind of a almost like taboo area that no one really wants to talk about.
mm,
I know we've kind of spoke about this briefly, but yeah, the right client will pay for your work.
yep,
If you're
yep,
putting price out there and you think, oh, I'm not
mm,
sure if that's going to be appealing to most people.
mhm,
If someone really wants you to capture a
mm,
special event,
yep,
um, they'll pay for you to be there. And that I feel
mm,
like that's when you start finding the right clients. But it
mm,
can take time, definitely. I feel like it happened for me probably only really in the last couple of years. I started
mhm,
to get more of the clientele that I was looking for,
yep, yep,
and finding people that are kind of similar to you in a way. So I started to get clients that I feel like we could literally be pals.
mm,
I'd meet them anytime.
yep,
And I think that's a big part for me. Like I love um, when people get in touch for me to photograph their wedding, or if it's like a family portrait, I want to come across as a friend capturing some
mm.
pictures for them. And then that's when you get that nice relaxed kind of rapport with the
Oh, of
client.
course, yeah. You're
But it's
immediately building that
finding,
relationship. Yeah.
yeah, and
Mm,
I've definitely had clients where I've thought this like already feels like it doesn't work just in meeting, like chatting to each
mhm,
other. You know what I
mhm,
mean? Obviously, it's like any job that comes in, it's an absolute pleasure.
mhm,
And I'm also grateful for any work that comes in and to capture these important days,
mhm, mhm,
moments for people. But you do start to like warm towards certain people and just the way they do things. So I started to get some literally like back garden weddings.
mhm.
Absolutely love them, and I thought I want more of these. Um,
Amazing.
it was those kind of people that I
Yep.
really had like a connection with.
Mhm,
They were like very outdoorsy, loved just keeping things simple, and
mm.
there was almost like more of a meaning behind it. It was just, yeah,
Oh,
just
that's
really
beautiful.
nice. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, I love this. And
Mm,
as I started to, I mean, the hardest part in the first place is getting that work in your portfolio to then obviously show
yeah.
people that's what you
Mhm,
do. But once I started to get, well, when I got the first garden wedding, I just posted it everywhere. I did a blog. I was like reaching out to other people that write
mm.
blogs, feature your work and things like that. And sometimes that helps sort of reach those clientele.
Very good point. Yeah.
It's
Don't just put it in a
rambling.
portfolio. Mm.
Yeah, I always, this came from Photography Farm as well. Don't have all your eggs in one basket.
Mm.
Um, it's very easy to just think like Instagram, just, or paying for adverts and just hoping that you're going to get
Mm.
more of these kind of clients. But you really need to be speaking to as many people as possible, reaching out to blogs, yeah, everything, everything
Yeah.
you can do.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's like how don't have all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, it's like you don't want to stretch yourself so thin that you're like, oh my goodness,
No.
I've got a list as long, as long as my arm. Like, how am I going to achieve this? And I think it's important to say, um, have that list, but um, do those things and do them well, and give yourself time to do it. Like, again, this for you, this didn't happen overnight. You were approaching these people after years of honing your skill, years of testing different things out, and having the confidence, and because I guess that's another thing as well. It's like,
Yeah.
we're not everyone's super outgoing and has got the confidence to be like, right, I'm going to go be in a workshop with a bunch of strangers. Hopefully they'll be nice, or
Mm.
I'm going to cold call people, or to, like. But I really do believe that you maybe can't learn to be the most extroverted person out there, but you can certainly grow in confidence with speaking to and being around different folk, or folk you don't know. But so again, like, how off to you for just being like, right, this is what I want. I'm gonna go get it, but I'm gonna prepare to fall back on a part-time job if I have to.
Yeah.
But you've chosen to go down those avenues to learn how to grow. I love it. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
No, it is, like, I mean, again, like, it's hard work. It is hard work to be juggling all these different things, being your own critique, and then asking for help. It's a real pursuit.
Yeah, and I'm still growing. Like, I'm still
Mm.
trying to get more weddings per year. I do lots of little bits in between that as
Mm.
well. Like, I'll do like headshots for other business owners
Mm-hmm.
or creatives,
Yep.
that kind of thing. But weddings has always been like the main thing. But I'm still trying to get
Mm.
like more weddings, for example. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
continual cycle as such.
Mm.
But I suppose at the moment that's my kind of goal, is just to up my wedding numbers. But
Got it.
it's a little bit difficult at the moment.
Just a tad. Yeah.
But we're
Guess that's
getting
it. Yeah.
but I mean, this year I was, well, hopefully we'll still be able to work something out, but I had work booked in with other photographers this year
Mm.
to just assist them at weddings, like second shoot. So
Mm.
basically my role is to help them out, obviously, as much as possible, but basically capturing all the little candid moments happening
Mm.
throughout the day and capturing things just from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And it just takes the pressure off the main photographer.
Oh, I
Um,
see. Yeah.
that's always really fun, because I literally turn up, do my thing, and then hand them over my memory cards, and that's
Amazing.
it.
Yeah.
And it is always nice. I mean, I've had people shoot for me, and
Mm-hmm.
it's nice because you think, oh, they're capturing that, I can focus on this. It just takes the
Mm.
pressure off a little bit, especially if you've got quite a large number of people.
Of course. Yeah.
That's always good fun. But hopefully, some of those might still be able to go ahead. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
it's all those
Yeah, I think
things that have
so.
helped me. Like, if anyone's watching that is kind of just starting out, just work with as many other photographers as you can. That's been a big
Right.
help for me.
Got it.
There
Yeah.
was some I worked with in my earlier years where I learned so much, but I also learned what I liked and what I didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember there would be some weddings we'd shoot, and I'd come home and I'd actually think, I don't know if I actually want to do this. I
Yeah.
didn't really enjoy
Yeah.
that. It was
Yeah.
like it was made to feel very stressful.
Right.
And it was, I don't know, this is where you kind of find what you really kind of you're like comfortable in as such. So for example, if I'm at a wedding, I would hate to go up to a group of people and interrupt their conversation and say, can I get a picture of you?
Yeah, of course.
Whereas now, I just capture the day as it happens, and kind of coming back around to finding your ideal client. There'll be clients that love the idea of just having pictures of like a group of people, everyone smiling at the camera, that's great.
Yeah.
But some do love that candid documentary style where you look back through your wedding photos and you're feeling how you're getting the feels of the day. Actually, you feel like you're reading it as such.
Photos of conversations happening and that type of thing.
Yeah, just those candid moments, like people having a laugh, friends that haven't seen each other in ages. But I'll happily take pictures of groups. So like sometimes it's usually in the evening when people have had a few drinks. Like, they'll come up to you and be like, hey, can you get a picture of us? I'm like, oh, that's fine. That's absolutely great. But I hate kind of interrupting a conversation that's flowing. So I like kind of
just take it.
Yeah. And some people hate having their photo taken. So I'd hate to make people feel uncomfortable. Especially when they're having a really good conversation and then they lose the flow.
yeah, exactly. So again, you're being considerate to your audience or your subject, I guess. Yeah,
100%. And again, I've found my ideal clients through that. Like some people just love that documentary style, and it's almost like a storybook when they look through their wedding photos, trying to get those emotions through that were going on during their day, just things like that. And even like
so much work so much work that goes into this. It's like being in the moment, following what's going on, looking for those moments, making sure your SD cards in, settings are right, changing them on the fly, getting to the end of the day feeling exhausted, and then editing everything and then shipping it to the client. Like that is a lot. Oh man, there you go. If there was one message that you could give to anybody watching or listening to this who's either thinking about getting into it or is just a fellow photographer, someone who's got an interest in creating images, creating art, what would you say to them?
I bought something with me for this part.
Please, yeah.
So I have to mention him. So my granddad was always my biggest inspiration, and he was so a lot of my family are self-employed, and he absolutely loved that, and he'd always encourage us to just follow our dreams and just go for it, basically. And he introduced me to this book a number of years ago now, called Jonathan Livingston Seagull. And if I just read
please,
just this first bit here, just like describing what the book's about. It's literally the smallest little book, but it's got such a strong message. If anyone wants to read it, that's it. And it goes: Jonathan Livingston Seagull is a fable about making the most of our lives, even if our goals run contrary to the norms of our flock, tribe, or neighbourhood. Through the metaphor of flight, Jonathan's story shows us that if we follow our dreams, we too can soar. So that's always something that's stuck with me. And my granddad wrote a message in the book as well to basically say, don't follow the crowd, do your own thing, be confident. And I think if you keep thinking about something, listen to it and do something about it. It took me a long time to listen as such to the photography bits going on. I felt like I had to do the admin jobs. I felt like I had to do the 9 to 5 and things. But looking back, I mean, it was a good starting point, and it was a good experience that I probably did need. But it eventually led me to realise that actually, no, this isn't for me. I've got another calling. So yeah, I think just follow your dreams. As cliche as it sounds, because you'll be so happy that you did. Just go for it. Enjoy.
I love that. I love it. And again, that's it. It comes from a real place. That's yeah. Even with all the stresses and that come with being self-employed, you're sitting here saying, "No, do it anyway. It's worth it."
Just,
I love
yeah,
that.
go for it. There's going
Yeah.
to be risks in
Mm-hmm.
anything,
Mm-hmm.
and I've taken a lot, but I wouldn't change it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
much happier doing this, and I'm so lucky to say um, that I'm doing something I love as my
Mm-hmm.
job. It doesn't feel like a job, but yeah, it's amazing.
There you go.
So
Well, there we
yeah.
go. Let's call it there, I think. Lottie, thank you so much for coming on board. Last time, just give us your Instagram.
Yep, so Lottie underscore photography,
Mm-hmm.
my Instagram handle. So come and say hi.
Magic. Folks, thanks for listening. This has been Art Notes. Our next guest is going to be Nathan Mellis, who I'm very excited to be talking about. Thank you very much again, Lottie. And we'll catch you all very soon. Cheers, folks.